And it's now time to bring you our conversation with former Tourism Minister Catherine Afeku. Watch this. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our one-on-one conversation with Catherine Afeku. She's a former Member of Parliament and a former Minister of Tourism, Arts and Culture. Today, we're having a conversation with her, no-hold-bars conversation, from politics to entertainment and what have you. Glad you could join me in the studio this morning.
Happy to be here, Ken. It's always good to see you.
Right. How are you?
Great.
The MPP has been out of office for 11 months now. How has life been in opposition?
I don't really call it opposition. I call it transition. Government is a continuous process.
Right.
Once you take the vocation as being a politician, you don't see it as being on the opposite side.
Right.
Wherever you are out of office, you rebuild, you reorganize, and you hope to recapture. So it's been good.
That.
Yeah, no, I don't want to take the tag of opposition. We're in transition.
You were an MP 2 times, non-consecutively. You missed Parliament?
No, honestly speaking, no. The friendship, the intellectual exchanges, but the chamber itself, I would say no. I've had my time. I've done it.
Why don't you miss it? A lot of people do.
No, not me. Because, well, if you come from, you have to first, let's greet your viewers and listeners, and of course our cherished multimedia fans. But if you have been through this for 5 times, 20 years I've been contesting, you've win in 2 and you lose in 3, it gets to a point where you're like, you know what?
Enough is enough.
Enough is enough. And not in the negative sense, but it's more like you have to get onto a different realm within the political sphere. So no, the chamber itself, no. But the political environment and growing up in it, you know, there is always going to be a different aspiration.
Right.
So you do parliament and then you have to move on up.
You were in America, living your life. You were an American citizen. I mean, living the American dream.
Yes.
What made you decide to abandon all of that, including renouncing your American citizenship, to come back to Ghana?
I think the key word will be patriotism, but you have to credit it to those who led the way. Just as you said, we were living our lives, you have children, a husband, a family, and you come into contact with destiny. I met Mrs. Oboshi Saikofi. She had come to the USA to meet the diaspora with Jake of blessed memory, Otanka Obichebilante. And as you rightly said, I mean, we are Ghanaians first and foremost, and we sojourn in a different country. So you never forget your birth, your roots, your upbringing. I grew up here. I mean, I left at age 16, so I was fully fledged an African woman. But they came in and brought that was the Kufuor's first term government, explaining how those of us in the diaspora could actually come and be a part of the nation building. And not everybody took the call, but I was engaged directly, so I took it as a call to duty. She was very emphatic, and I always credit her with this chance encounter. She literally, they had a phone interview on the phone and got me the spokesperson for infrastructure. I was the first female given that position to help with the Ministry of Information and national orientation at that time. So yeah, it wasn't a difficult decision at that time because it was coming back home. And I look back and I'm really grateful to her, and I'm happy President Kufuor at that time gave some of us the chance to be part of his government.
That was how long ago?
Oh, this was 2004, 2003. So I've been back 20 years. Yeah.
You were the Tourism, Arts and Culture Minister.
Yes.
For 2 years.
Yes.
Exactly. And during your tenure, we experienced something called Year of Return.
Yes.
Did you play a major role in that? How did that come about?
Oh, humbly, I would say yes. Some of I feel very blessed to have been part of that epoch, and some of the things that happened that has really catapulted Ghana onto the global tourism stage. But it started with full circle. In December 2018, Boris Kojo, a son of this land, decided to bring some of his friends from Hollywood. The original list started with 23 people, ended up being 169, and that was the trigger. This was 2018 to celebrate a full circle of coming back from America to Africa. So they did the circle. And it was very significant. That is really the beginning of this migration and this phenomena that you see of people coming back home.
Right.
And it was not easy. Ken, I have to tell you. It was new. I mean, back in the 60s, Dr. Nkrumah brought Muhammad Ali. You remember?
Will Smith?
Yeah, Will Smith came before December 2018. But this return, Maya Angelou and the rest were all here. But this particular one that I led would be the catapult. Because right now, Ghana is on the lips of everyone in the diaspora. It is because of what went through. They're coming, the process, holding them in and getting them to feel this country made it easier. So it's like Africa 101 is really Ghana. And a lot of work was put in by Bozoma St. John. She's also Ghanaian, by the way, from my neighborhood. And Boris Kojo and all the Hollywood stars that came. So with them, we started the ushering in of Year of Return. And there's a gentleman that you need to also know and acknowledge. He's an African-American who's now permanently living here, Diallo Sombri. He was the one who was actually the birthing of Year of Return and all this come back home and the whole culture. But I played a very pivotal role, and you can't take that away from me. But you have to add passion. It can't be just business as usual. You have to be on the ground, involved, immersed. That's what turned this thing around.
You left the ministry in 2019.
Yes, March
but of
2019.
Course, the Year of Return continued.
Exactly. Yeah. It actually started in 2017.
Right.
Just the build-up.
It continued. Now we have Dirty December, another, fun
December,
activities.
NGA.
Exactly. How would you say this legacy of yours, because of course it started when you were sector minister, how would you say it has been sustained? Good?
I would say it has been. I mean, to be fair, tourism is a sector that has not been prioritized in our country. And that is a true statement. I've sat in cabinet and I've seen how other sectors of the governance structure is a priority sector, education, energy. But when you look at other jurisdictions, tourism can change the dynamics of the economics. But we were not putting in money hitherto. I mean, Dirty December, to give credit, started in 2016. I met Mr. Easy. This is a Nigerian young artist who was doing this at Empire near Pastor Duncan Williams, Reverend Bishop. Yeah, that's where he started. And I met him one-on-one. And he's the one who actually I met, and I know he was doing this, and Dirty December has been sustained. So I don't see the verve and enthusiasm. The government cannot take over completely, but they need to support, because these things bring revenue into the nation. I mean, people will stay in hotels, they will buy food, they will use transport, and they will also visit tourist sites. So if we don't put in the necessary resources, you can't get it back. If you go to Spain in the summer, Ken, the entire nation, they don't have cocoa, they don't have gold. They build on tourism. But Ghana, the little that we put in 2018, leading to 2019, we were able to secure $3 billion. We queue for IMF to give us half of that. So if we spend resources into just that one sector, you will see the ripple effect. It's a service sector, and it has the only sector that can employ 3 or 4 people in one job. A typical hotel takes 3 people for one job. At the front desk, you have the 6 to 2, 2 to 10, and 10 to 6. One job takes 3 people. But if you look at the value chain, we have not even touched the surface of tourism. Culinary delights, just showing Ghanaian foods and doing the cultural fashion. Makeup is a $1 billion industry. And we have it all here. Music, dance, museums, tour sites. Even the tour guide are trained in Mauritius, and they make more money than we have here. So it is a sector that requires government just focusing on it. And I don't mean to, highlight one region, but
right.
I have the experience, and I know Volta is not the NPP stronghold, but that's one particular region that if government is to put in $1 billion+ in just focusing on tourism development, this country can make 10 billion in tourism. And really, that's my favorite candidate, talks about it with passion. Ken speaks thoroughly about tourism. It is because he has seen what it can do. In the Volta region, you have the lake, you have Volta, you have the sea. If you go to Denuketa, the beaches are so clean. You have the forest, the mountains, and you have the people. If you put a hotel training school, we don't have one. These ad hoc schools are not what we need. A top-notch management training school in this country, you just put it in the Volta region. So you get the Francophone countries to patronize. If you put something like that in Aflao, you get Togolese, Beninois, Nigerians to participate. And the good thing about this industry is if you train skilled labor pool, you can export.
Wow.
Yeah, it is an industry that can take care of Ghana's unemployment quagmire, but we are not seeing it as a priority sector. I was passionate. I didn't sleep. You see me running around, meeting all the stars, getting to know them. And that is really the trick. You need them. You need to know those who propagate your sector. And just a word from Sak or Samini or Stoneboy, it would just go viral. And that is the power the creatives can. They just have to say a word about Ghana. Having a flag in just take one of them, the young ones, just holding the flag and say, it's cool to be in Ghana. Boom, 1 million people will follow. So we have the power in just that sector. But we're not putting money in it.
That's quite interesting.
It is. We're not putting money in it. And that is really a tragedy. I mean, I worked, I pushed, and they called me they had other names for me, but because I was driving people. Like, we have to create. I had one of the things that I can tell you about is a policy that I coined up through a good friend. He used to write for your
online portal.
Yes, but I'll get the name. See Ghana, Eat Ghana, and Wear Ghana. This was my first 3 months. I came up with, how do we sell Ghana? And that alone, simple but effective tool to promote Ghana. And it worked. But it was one gentleman, before we leave, I'll get the name, who got me. He does Wango Wango.
Okay.
Yeah, I had a chat with him, and I was so mesmerized. I said, you do all this? How are you selling it? So, because he was able to do tours. So he was showing people how to see Ghana. And he cooks. He's also a chef. So he was letting people eat Ghana. And he was always wearing African attire. So he was wearing Ghana. And there, right there, at lunch with him, I coined up that. So I always remember it was through his inspiration that I came up with the policy that guided me throughout my tenure at the ministry. Everything I did was deliberately linked to either you are seeing Ghana, you are eating Ghana, or you are wearing Ghana.
In 2024, December 7th, December 8th, December 9th, between that time, the election results were trickling in. They were declared. Where were you when the election results were declared?
I was at the Collation Center. I remember it just like yesterday.
Where?
I was at the Collation Center at my alma mater, Kwame Nkrumah Senior High School. They had used the assembly hall to do the collation to get the results. So yes, I was at the Collation Center.
That means you had first-hand, evidence of whatever that was going on.
Yes.
When did you get to know that your party had lost the election?
It was around 7 to 9 a.m. It was trickling in. I mean, we had our results by 2 a.m. The parliamentary, it's easy to collate because you have a command center and you call. We have 120 polling stations. So you could easily do the math and you know that it's either you've won or you have lost. It's straight. But the presidential was taking time to get the national. So it was between 7 and 9 a.m. We had half message that it's not looking good from about 7 regions, but we still waited. I mean, officially, I sat and listened at around noon that it looks like the whole nation result had yet to be completed, but with what had been received, it didn't look like. But still officially was not declared by the EC, but it's just from what they call predictions and what is trickling in. So I remember it like it was yesterday.
So did the MPP win at the coalition center you were?
No, we lost both presidential and parliamentary. The only consolation is I won like 1,500 plus over the presidential. So that tells you that the people actually did their best to support you, but it wasn't enough to clinch the seat. So,
what was your reaction when you realized that the MPP had lost, and especially with the numbers and the gap that they used to lose? How did you react to that?
Initially it was a shock. Like you get numb because I didn't believe it, and you still feel like it's disbelief of all the things we have done. Yeah, there were some issues, economics, the CD, the inflation, and there was this general dissatisfaction on the job front. So, but you would have thought, and it's every politician's illusion, that because you have done A, B, C, natural tendency is the people will send you back into office. So when you've done politics for a while, it's win or lose. So you have to psych your mind. But it's only natural that when you get that news, first you react, you are in denial. Then second, it gradually sinks in that, okay? And then third, it hits you. And that was a major blow because it was a tsunami. We lost, like miserably lost. So now, after 11 months, you can relax and talk about it. But it was difficult at first because you couldn't believe that what did we do to deserve this whipping? So,
going into the elections, were you confident the MPP was going to win?
It was a 50-50. Like I said, I'm a veteran. I started this 2008. I started 2006 technically, campaigning leading up to 2008 elections. So every time you're entering, you have this thing of it could go south or it could go for you.
Right.
So, but your first time you're a bit naive and you are jumping up and down thinking the whole world loves you. But when you've been through it a couple of times, you have to psych your mind that you could win or you could lose. There's never going to be a second or third round for a parliamentary elections. It's majority.
So what do you think contributed to the MPP's defeat?
Well, now that we are back home, you have sat, I think it was a lot of factors.
Tell me some.
Well, the only one that I know really was economics. I think it was the CD, the business community were not too comfortable, and taxes as well, because we had come in, we promised production against taxes, and I think it took time for that to be realized, and the electorates will punish you when you have not been able to deliver on what, and I'm in a position to say it because I was there.
Right.
You see that when you go to the marketplace, they'll tell you, we're not going to give you back. I said, well, why? Your daughter is going for the free education. Well, that's not enough. So there were snippets of it. But in hindsight, when you are in office, you hope against hope that you can turn things around. But it gives you also an opportunity to do your homework and to reorganize, to recapture with the hopes of coming back again.
There are others who have also raised concerns that the candidates that you presented in 2024, the former Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, contributed to your defeat. Do you share in that opinion?
I don't say it was 100%, but it contributed because there were factors. When you have been a vice presidential candidate for 8 years, a vice president for 8 years, that's 16 years in that same structure. So there will be fatigue. And also, there were a lot of factors, because I'm not here to hold brief for people, but naturally, if you come to my constituency, I have Value and Jura. The Jura side is predominantly northern settlers, and you had a lot of people from the other side, not of his tribal extract, and they were openly saying they will not vote. But we didn't listen because we were like, why not? You are MPP, it's about the party. So that played a role. They
said they will not vote because of the candidate.
Yes, but I, as a candidate, I didn't take it like, why not? And some of our executives, these were executives, so they didn't vote. But at that time, I didn't take it serious. I was like, if you're MPP, it doesn't matter. But it did, and he showed in the results. So, you know, it's just what it is. I mean, there were other factors, but that also played a role. It played a role.
You're supporting Kennedy Agyapong to lead the MPP. If he were the candidate last year, do you think he would have won?
In hindsight, I'm not, you know, an oracle and I'm not God, but in hindsight, it would have given us a better chance, I think, because he didn't have a lot of the fatigue, you will say, of being at the helm. So that could have been an opportunity. But as we sit here, emphatically, I would say now that I know what I know, it would have given MPP a better chance, a better shot of taking the governance to break that 8. Yeah, because it would have been a different face, a different person who had not been in office. And Ghanaians would have yearned to try something different. So, yeah, I think in hindsight, it would have been a good chance to have continued.
Right. So let's talk about your support for Kennedy Agyapong. It's been unwavering. Why do you think he should lead the MPP?
To put it in perspective, there are 5 gentlemen who have put themselves up for this election. They are all fine gentlemen, and they all bring in their unique qualities. But from where I sit, don't forget I've been a member of parliament, I've been a minister, I've been a government spokesperson, and I have gone through 5 cycles of elections. So I assess all of them. And in my heart, I know that if we present Kennedy Agyapong, we have a chance after President Mahama to take over government. Why? He's not the usual run-of-the-mill tie, coat, GDP kind of gentleman. He is the one that is, you call a disruptive leader. They come in and they don't do the conventional. He's a businessman and he's a politician. So he combines those skills, the experience of pragmatism. You look at this tapestry called Ghana. Every single district has a unique product that can create an industry to create jobs. In fairness, President Akufo-Addo, in our first term, we came up with the 1D, 1F, and I recall vividly, because my assembly were tasked to get 3 unique products that can be metamorphosed into a factory, an industry. So it was a work in progress, but I could tell there was financial challenges. No industry per se came up in I use my constituency. So if we had gone on that tangent, even doing 2 per district, see then this 14% national unemployment rate would have gone down a bit. But that is the call on the ground. And Kennedy comes across as someone who has done it before. He has industries. So he's the guy who can talk and do what he's saying. He has done it before. And also, he has been in parliament 6 terms. So this is a guy that combined experience. And what people love about him is his brutal honesty. He tells it like it is. There's no sugarcoating. And if you look at Trump style, Berlusconi, leaders who come in with boldness, they tend to disrupt the status quo. They do things that's unconventional. And that is what Ghana needs at this juncture. You need a leader who's thinking outside the box, a leader who's unconventional, and a leader who's courageous. He has been very consistent. Let's industrialize. Let's wipe out unemployment. How are you going to do it? He said, industry. So he's not talking from a vacuum. I have done it before. I have created industry. I have employed people. And the real issue in our country is unemployment, youth unemployment. So I have the antidote. If you give me the opportunity, it's in very simple terms. Sometimes I recall I was in the US when Clinton was campaigning, and he had this thing of KISS, keep it simple, stupid. Keeping it simple is always the solution to a lot of our problems. He keeps it simple, pragmatic, and it's result-oriented. That is why I said, no, I like this gentleman. I like his style of governance, and I like his can-do attitude. That's what we need. We need somebody who's emboldened, who's courageous, but who's also results-oriented.
Speaking of the temperament that you say that has won him a lot of fans, it has also won him a lot of enemies. His, critics say that This is a bad temperament of someone who wants to lead the country. Now, the opponents say he's fought women, men, his foes, adversaries, party members, and almost everyone publicly. Just recently, former gender minister, who was your colleague, I know you remember her, Sarah Agyapong.
Of course I do.
Yes.
I mean, it's not that long
Sarah
ago.
Agyapong.
We've only been out 11 months.
Exactly. Sarah Agyapong came out publicly in full force, telling Ghanaians to outright reject Kennedy Agyapong because of his temperament. That is what Agyapong said. Because of Kennedy Agyapong's temperament, Ghanaians should reject him. And this is somebody who has 2 children with Kennedy Agyapong saying this. So really, if somebody who used to be or right now is as close to him as Sarah Agyapong is saying that he should be rejected, why shouldn't people listen to that?
Ken, well, your namesake, you've actually answered this whole intro to your question. And I think you are also being a bit selective. Not that I want to spend too much time on Ajua, but in that same conversation, she vouched for the principled nature of the candidate who will turn things around in Ghana, who's Ken. Said, the Ken that I know, he is very principled and he will not tolerate family and friends kind of governance. So you can look at the big picture. There are 18 million people who are going to vote. And one person who, in her effort to denigrate, actually comes out, it's reverse psychology, to vouch for the principled nature of Kennedy Agyapong. I will tend to take that positive element of the end of her vituperations. But I'm here to talk about Kennedy. But if you bring it up, I'll tell you the nuggets I took out of it. I was, okay, listen to that lady. In spite of all the stuff that she said, she was able, not coerced, not pushed, that the Kennedy that I know will not tolerate family and friends. And if I were to be in this arena and Kennedy wins, I will not be given a job. So my political career will come to an end. Now that statement is very loaded. It tells you 2 things. Kennedy's principled. Kennedy will not tolerate family and friends. Kennedy does not support nepotism. And Kennedy will tell it like it is. Just because I have birthed 2 children with you does not automatically give you a position in my future government. For me, I wrote it in my book on that day when I watched the clip. I said, this is a testimony of the principled nature of Ken. That's all I took out of that. So the rest, I mean, if you are saying her opinion as against 18 million people who go to the polls should be the gospel, then you're not being fair to the rest of the Ghanaians. But I don't want to spend my beautiful time preaching about Ken's attributes on her. But if you were to put in context what she said, that I took home is she was able to testify that Ken is a principled man. And that's it. And the rest, you took it up. You can put it somewhere else.
She also mentioned that we should not vote for an individual who insults women.
And you should have put it in context that where was she?
She was campaigning.
No, where was she when Honorable Kennedy Agyapong was insulting all these women, and as a gender minister, she didn't go out there to do anything about it. So it's convenient for her now to be part of the chorus. But like I said, I want to bring us back to why I am here. But if we go into it, there is a lot that will just put her in a very bad light. And I'm a woman. I don't want to play that game of denigrating a fellow woman. I want to take the best out of what she said. Kennedy is a principled man. Case closed. For me, I want to focus on his attributes. A lot of the things you hear in his effort to defend our party right here at Multimedia Studios severally, in his effort to defend our party. Now they do a 10 Commandment, Moses style of sins and this and that. But it takes us off. See, we need to focus more on what is it you can do instead of this internal rivalry and pettiness, because that takes you off the focus. The focus is Ghana. The focus is a party now on the fence, in transition, reorganizing itself to choose a leader who will contest post-President Mahama's tenure. That is the focus. If we tend to digress into who said what, who are not going to be on the ballot, me, where I sit, Catherine Afeku, I don't spend energy on what others said. I spend energy on what Kennedy said when he went to Dododio, what Kennedy said when he went to Lejokuku, what Kennedy said when he went to Osu Kole Klote. That, for me, is where my mind is. What is it he's going to do to alleviate poverty? What is it he's going to do to bring out enterprise and private sector leading the transformation in the economy? That is the substance of our internal contest, not aggrandizing some followers of contenders. That will make me remove my eyes off the ball, Ken. I'm here to speak about your namesake, Ken.
And of course, I mean, the opponents have also said that part of your defeat is to be blamed on Kennedy Agyapong, because they say that the NDC used most of his messages that he said against your own party to campaign against you.
Are you 100% sure? Because these are,
I am 100% sure.
Are you 100% sure?
100% sure.
We started off with what made you all lose, and I told you a few factors.
Right.
And then it goes into he was just a contender in 2023. He came second, 37% plus. Okay, and in that whole 8-year period, if you were to record all of us, our vituperations, explosions, and our individual contribution to the demise of our party, I don't think it would be fair to dump all that on an individual. When people say that, you know, when you're in contest with a person and everyone is lumping an attack, I've been in politics. It tells you you're going to win. I can assure you. When you are in politics and the arrows are being thrown at you all the time, it means you're doing something good. It means you're unraveling your contestants. It means you're doing something that unnerves them. So all these accusations, false or otherwise, will not distract Team Kennedy or the contestant himself, because it's happened in the past.